Hello everyone, Kevin Metz here, and this video is specifically for other shamisen players interested in this Paganini piece. Now I've been playing this piece for a while, not very successfully. What I mean is I mostly don't have time to practice this piece. This piece requires a tremendous amount of practice, hours and hours and hours of practice, and I simply don't have that kind of time. So I've been working on it for a number of years, and sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it close to right, and those are when I have time to really work on it and practice. So again, most of the time I don't have that kind of time, so it's been an uphill battle, in other words, is what I'm trying to say. However, I am back on the bandwagon right now. I'm trying to practice it as much as possible, trying to get a new performance of it. And hopefully I'm improving. I don't know, but hopefully. But what I want to address today are specific questions and comments that come in from other shamisen players about approaching this piece on shamisen. Specifically, people seem to ask a lot of questions about like how to prepare and warm up, how to get your fingers like even, warmed up and ready to even play this piece. So I wanted to talk about my personal thoughts and how I approach based on those thoughts. My first thought when I started to approach this piece had to do with the ending. It's always been about the ending for me. And that is not just from a technical standpoint, but also just from a philosophical notion, which is the notion that, even if you can pull off most of the piece, if you can't pull off the ending, then it's kind of pathetic, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it was, what happened there, like everything was building up, and the ending is kind of like the climax. You really want to treat it with extra attention, I feel like. Now the ending is, it has these huge stretches. So I figured if you're going to warm up on anything when you're preparing and getting ready to play this piece, you should start there. Because if you're not warmed up on these stretches and then you get to the ending and you have to do this stuff, you're going to hurt yourself, you know what I mean? It's dangerous. So my approach, considering like the physical aspects and the philosophical idea of you got to pull off the ending, the ending has to be the best part. That drove me to come up with this sort of idea that whenever I start to work on this piece, I'm going to start from the ending, from the finale. And of course, if you imagine you're picking up the shamisen for the first time in the day, you want to go very slow. These are, these are huge stretches, so you want to go very, very slow at first. So I would do something like this to warm up. I'm not going to do the warm-up routine here, but if you're a shamisen player, if you want to play along with me, here's my tuning. I'm not going to do the whole routine, but what I'm going to suggest is, spend about like 5 to 10 minutes with just very slow. You want to go really, really slow because you're stretching your hand out, getting it ready. Eventually, eventually it's going to be super fast, but when you're starting off, very, very slow. Just, you might even want to do some of these stretching out your hand a little bit while you do it. Gradually get a little faster. Over like 5 to 10 minutes, right? Not like what I'm doing. Spend more time, and then there's this, which is, you want to really be careful with that. That's a huge stretch, unless you're Mike Penny. If you're Mike Penny, that's like nothing. But his stretch is like from here to here. Like he's an alien. Is that guy? He's an alien. Mike, if you're watching this, you're an alien. You know what I mean? Anyway, all right, so you get back to this. Take your time, It's just an A minor arpeggio, but yeah, go really slow. So over 5 to 10 minutes, just very slowly. it goes to major. And then we have this part. And you know, these phrases, you want to repeat them over and over, like really ingrain them, you know. I don't really see how you could pull off a piece like this without hundreds and hundreds of repetitions. So if you wanted to play this piece, just be prepared to repeat a lot of times the same phrase, you know. When it starts to feel comfortable, you know, then you start getting the hang of it. And then I would go back to the beginning of the finale. Again, very slow, right? Now, I'm not going to do the repetitions here for the video, but if in a real warm-up session, you know, this would just go over and over and over, just over and over, the same phrase. And just keep repeating. Eventually it becomes easy to play it faster because you've drilled it so many times. So that's the idea. And then, you know, and then the part we practiced in the beginning. And then it's just major at the end. Now this last chord, yep, it's very important. You want to make sure that's in tune. So if you find you're playing and you get to the end and it's out of tune, then that's another thing to kind of I'm pretty good today, but sometimes, you know, it's like, you know what I mean? Like you have to fix it. You know what I mean? So if you find that's happening, just find the right. Where is it? I had it a second ago. Maybe right there. Right. So when you find it, you know, go back down. And hopefully, you know, hopefully. Anyway, so then at some point, you know, when you get to the end of the piece, it should be able to, you should be able to, oh, is it? Oh, I messed up. All right, so I'm already warmed up today. That's why I'm able to do this. But if, again, I want to stress, if you're really doing this from scratch, starting from the beginning, you don't want to blaze through it like this. You want to actually, like I've been saying, 5 to 10 minutes for each little section. So about an hour really of warming up is really ideal. And you know, there's other things to warm up on. Things like that, or the all the different little variations. There's a lot of warming up you can do for this piece, but I focus a lot on the ending, and I warm up on the ending, make sure that's intact so that when I do sit down to play through the whole thing, I can have confidence that when I get to the ending, I'm ready. I'm all stretched out. You know, I've got my Mike Penny fingering stuff. Anyway, so I hope that was helpful for all those people asking me about this piece and how to play it on shamisen and how to pull it off. I don't really think I can do it just yet. I don't think I've had one single perfect performance of this piece. I think every single time there's been little things that I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? It's so close. You know what I mean? But I'm working on it. I'm trying to get there. Hopefully someday. Okay, thanks everyone.